I'm sure everyone and their mother has heard about AI ruining this generation. Of course, these claims do seem to have some merit, as AI has been shown to limit human decision making, cause laziness, and pose security and privacy issues. But before we start talking about AI, let's revisit some of the past technopanics. One of the first technopanics involved a fear that this technology would cause a decline in memory. Sound familiar? Well, if you think this is about the internet, you'd be wrong. This is actually Socrates talking about writing ideas down on paper. Another similar panic was surrounding the printing press when it first made its way to Europe. One Swiss biologist argued that the printing press would lead to information overload, which would confuse the general public. Of course, we now know that the printing press led to a skyrocketing of the literacy rate and allowed for significant scientific developments. Eventually, the panic behind writing, reading, and printing subsided as it became a part of regular life. However, one of the first more modern technopanics was the radio. Radio was attacked because it was the first big shift in entertainment since the printing press. This created a sense of fear because of something Adam D. Therier calls hypernostalgia. Therier defines hypernostalgia as excessive nostalgia that can help explain skepticism about many forms of technological change. This hypernostalgia can be pretty easily seen during every modern day technopanic. And a title that probably has my favorite title ever, this is Sophian Cycle of Technology Panics, written by Amy Orban. She claims that every technopanic follows the same basic cycle. First, panic creation, where the technology is introduced and deemed harmful. When this happens, many people begin to paint the technology as bad before any real research has been done. After panic creation, there begins to be a political outsourcing. Politicians make a big deal of these issues to distract from real issues and improving their public image by standing up against the evils of technology. The politicians then outsource research to scientists and psychologists. However, this outsourcing tends to be less beneficial than one might think. You see, these scientists are being paid by funding to find issues with these specific technologies. This leads to scientists taking an incredibly cautionary position on the technology. Then we hit the third stage of the cycle, the wheel reinvention. Because these scientists are trying to get research findings on specific technological advancements, they tend to come to similar conclusions on this technology as the last one. This leads to no real scientific progress when it comes to an overarching finding on technology as a whole, which means that once a new technology comes into the view of the public, there is a whole new panic that leads back to stage one of the cycle. An observant eye will catch that AI is currently being run through this same cycle, and research is already coming out showing how AI is making humans lazy and taking away our decision-making abilities. However, these points are just part of the Sisyphean cycle. As I stated earlier, many technologies before AI were feared because they made us lazy and unproductive. But in hindsight, things like the printing press have all been shown to have positive effects on society. So, is the fear of AI unfounded? Well, not entirely. Issues like AI art and Duolingo replacing their workforce have shown some danger in continuing to use AI in the way we have been. However, not every usage of AI is entirely unethical. This means that it is up to individuals to decide what they deem as ethical and show their dismay at companies like Duolingo. AI has the potential to help humanity overcome some of our greatest issues, but it also has the potential to ruin us, depending on how we use it. So please, choose to use AI as a tool to help, not as a means to remove creativity or decision making from yourself. This way, we can continue to improve upon ourselves, our technology, and continue to make the world a better place.